about this love, about this, about this love, about this love, love.
How you guys doing today? Tune into About This Love podcast with your host, Del and Charel, coming at you from the Baltimore area. Be more where you can always be more. Isn't that right?
No.
Why you keep saying no every
No,
episode, but
because they don't say
you
that.
became more in Baltimore.
I became more well before Baltimore. Okay, so that's about to be saying.
Nah,
I like it out
she
there.
lying. She became more in Baltimore, and so did I.
You became more what? Like I became more
More of a father.
I became. It's so cheesy. Oh my god.
Yeah, but today
You gotta say.
Today we're gonna continue on the conversation intentional dating that leads to marriage. And today we just really wanted to talk about intentionality and what does that look like? You know, in today's culture, like everybody's intentional. Like my wife earlier, I had made her laugh. But she was talking about intentionality. I was like, it's a lot of people out here intentional. So dudes intentionally trying to get that booty. I was like, intentionality? Like, what does that mean? Like when you speak about intentionality, what are you actually saying? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I was being sarcastic. I mean, when people speak about intentionality, dating leads to marriage, we all know what they're talking about. But I think that what I was saying to her was that the point I was trying to make to her was that you need to make sure that you guys are on the same, you guys are evenly yoked when you're talking about the same, you guys are talking about intentionality that leads to marriage, you know, when dating.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. You said you were joking, but people are intentionally trying to like, you know, get you into their room, into their bedroom. So
Or the car.
oh
Or the RV, you know.
my gosh. Where's this going?
I'm sorry.
Okay. No, but seriously though. But I think we should start off by defining intentional, because I think there's people who really don't know what it means, you know?
I think people know what
No,
means.
people don't. I do not think that people know what intentionality means, because something may look intentional, meaning, oh, well, they sent this text, like, you know, this good morning text. They sent 5 people good morning text, you know? Oh, well, they showed up at my job. They, you know, was just happened to be in the area actually. And it's like, oh, hey, don't you work here? You know? So it could look intentional, you know, and I might be being a bit of a skeptic.
Yeah, I was thinking like,
but
at your job, happen to be in an area like.
No, because where I used to work, like I used to see a lot of people that I went to school with just driving by, and I'm like, oh man, they always come by and they wave and say what's up or whatever. And I mean, if you are in a space, and like, to be honest, like if you're in a space where you are looking to be married, every little thing for us women could be like, oh, look, he did this. That, you know, that means something. And trust me, I was one of those ones. I mean, I could still be one of those ones now. Like, I feel like I'm like that with you.
I think a lot of women are.
Excuse me.
I was having a conversation with one of my buddies, and he was saying how he cut a chick off because she was just like, I could tell her mind shifted about kids. He was like, yeah, I was out, and I was like, but I think that the good thing is that, like, while he did that, I think that it was good that he did, because he realized that she for him that may have meant family to him. He's like, you know, I don't want no kids, so I'm good. So I think that that's good because
he didn't waste her time.
Yeah, she didn't waste her time. Yeah, you know. But I think that I'll start off with me and Charel. You know, when I met Charel, yeah, I was intentionally trying to build a friendship with her, and I wanted to make sure that I got to know who she was. And once I got to know who she was, and I had a good feel for her character, and just her what I felt her moral beliefs were at the time, I think I began to pursue her into courtship, as we say, you know, as believers. You know, we don't have girlfriends and boyfriends. You know, we court. You know.
No, I think that's a good boundary to have, to not say it's a girlfriend boyfriend, because after you done like courted like 3-4 Bamas, then it's like, or it's 3-4 girlfriend boyfriends, you know, you done brought around to try to marry, then it's almost like, yeah, you seem like a serial dater. No, I mean, I think it kind of differed between you and I in the beginning, because I met you, and when I was in a space of like, I had gotten to a point where I was like, well, if it's just me and you, Lord, then it's just me and you. And I feel like I heard the Lord clearly, like the day I met you, I heard the Lord clearly that we were going to be married. And I only told one person, and she knows who she is. And I said, this sounds so crazy. And I'm only telling you as proof of like, if this is the Lord. And if not,
Yeah.
I only told you, and I can trust you with this information. And I wrote it down in my diary.
What if she told somebody else?
Well, I don't know them. So
Is it relevant?
it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I told one person. but
Yeah.
but I remember I didn't say anything to you about it, and I didn't do anything to orchestrate us talking, if that makes sense, after we had met.
Also, too, I think in dating, and you said that how women kind of have mentally like planned things out.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes like what a lot of women don't understand is when it comes to men is that a man can date a woman and she may just be I don't want to say a space filler, but she may just be meeting a need. I mean, I don't want to say intercourse. It could be anything. It could be we just spend time with somebody, companionship for that season. But most men are are simple. If a man meets a woman that he wants to marry, like he's not gonna. I was laughing because I watched the YouTube short where the dude was like, oh, no, you was listening, to it, you were laughing because I actually didn't get it. No, the dude was like, yeah, she was. I knew I would have heard her the first time I saw her, so I made her mine. And his wife was in the background, and she was like, side and I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, I didn't want her to realize that I was getting a better deal than what she was getting, so I had to go ahead and marry her. He was being sarcastic, but
yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
the main point in what he was saying is that like when a man meets a woman and I'll say that they've had a few interactions, or dates, whatever, he knows for the most part whether or not he wants to be with her or marry her or not. And that's how it was for me and you. Like it didn't take 6 months to a year. I'll say for me, it took about 4 months, 4 to 5 months, and I was like, okay.
For you?
Yeah, it took about 4 to 5 months. I was like, you know what? Okay, yeah, because I mean, after the like the third, fourth month, I was okay, but I just want to make sure, and that's what I mean. Like from there, she could probably more so speak to it, but I began to shift my life because I knew that I was eventually going to ask her to marry me, so I had to start shifting my life around and move some things around in my life and get things in order to be able to in the near future receive a wife. And so I think that a lot of women don't understand that like when you're dating a man and you as a woman are being intentional about marriage, but you think that he may or may not be, it's like it's not hard to really know. Most men, and I've heard dudes say this. It was funny because when I left my last company, the guys were joking on a one guy who had got married. They was like, "You saying guys say you ain't never get married? They say you say you would never get married," and they was just going in on him.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying like, "Well, it was something I heard that I just didn't know I needed," and I was like, "Wow!" But it's like that's how men operate. A man may say I ain't never getting married, and you may be the one that he ain't never getting married to. It's like, but then another woman could come along that just may have that niche or something about her that's just an anomaly. And he's like, yo, I'm wiping her up right now. Like, and it's like, that's how it happens. Like he wasn't with her. I think he was with her for like a year and then they got married. It's like the same dude say he ain't never getting married. It's like, that's how men are. Like when it comes to dating to marriage, like one of the things I would say, I would give women caution is that if a man does not want to marry you, he's not going to marry you. I don't know who needed to hear that, but oftentimes I feel like when women are so, I'll say it's probably unknowing arrogance. Like I'm gonna make him marry me. No, you're not.
I don't think it's an arrogance.
Well, what I'm saying is it's arrogance and pride that I'm gonna make you marry. I'm gonna make you want to marry me.
I think it's arrogance. I think it's a self-esteem issue.
Low or high?
I think it's a low self-esteem issue, and I'm speaking from my own low self-esteem issues. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't follow that. Low self-esteem would make you think somebody will want to marry.
Yes, because it's not I know I'm it, so I'm gonna get married. That's not most times, not all, but like I want to say 99.8% of the time, it's why not me? It's almost like what made that one so much better. And I was gonna say I think there was a good book. I had read it before you and I had gotten engaged, and I also had mailed a copy to a friend. It's called Awaken to My Wife by Dana Thompson. And when I tell you that, it's a short book, probably less than 100 pages, if that, it's almost like a
25 pages, yeah.
booklet. And so really going through that book, it explained, he explained how the Lord really opened his eyes. His wife was actually around him the whole time. Not the whole time, but while he was like, doing ministry in the church, she was like just buzzing around him, but not like going after him, but just she was there. And then one day the Lord just kind of was like, well, this is your wife. And then his eyes was open. And so
I'm sorry. I want to. Can I interject real quick?
mhm.
I think, and also too, I want to add to that. As like, I was laughing because like when he used to tell the story, like we used to laugh because I don't want to say him and his wife were like I don't want to say they were enemies because they weren't enemies, but he was just saying they had a very contentious relationship.
They butt heads
before they got married. But they butted heads a lot. So I think that for most people, she probably wouldn't have been the one that he would have chosen if he had chose her out of his own fruition. So I think that my point in saying that is that some of us are so nitpicky that we would by default rule out somebody that God may have already planned. Kind of remind me of Samuel and David when Samuel went to anoint the king of Israel. The Bible says that he said in his heart when he saw one of Jesse's sons, surely this is the one that God was like, no, I rejected him. You looking at how he looks and the fact that he has a warrior built shape, but I rejected him. And it's like, the dude came from and dirty. Like, it's like, yeah, that's the one. It's
came from the field.
That dude, like, yeah, that's the one.
Oh my God.
But I laugh because that's what we do. We'll reject somebody that God has purposely designed as a fit to our life, and we're like, no, I don't like him. I don't like her. It's like, well, that's the one that God has actually chosen for you. And I think that's actually what makes a lot of people not get into relationships. I think about how years ago they were trying to put somebody with somebody else. I don't want to say what or who, but like and I think
we know of a couple. Okay,
but it's like to this day the individual is still unmarried. It's like everybody knew the man. He was upstanding. Man of God, a wonderful person, great personality, but it's like that just wasn't the initial, or just wasn't a fit for that person. And it's like to this day they're still unmarried. It's like that's what I mean. How we will rule ourselves out we'll disqualify ourselves from something or being married to somebody for whatever reason because they don't fit what we think we would like in a person. And it's like when you do that, you just putting yourself in a very disadvantaged position. I'm sorry.
A disposition. Yeah, I mean, like, listen. Yeah, you are, but at the same time, it's the Lord gives free will.
Yeah,
and so I mean, it's like, and that's why we pray for the Lord's will and not like our will to be done and on matters of our lives. But I think I want to kind of take it back to kind of like what you were first talking about, because I definitely understand, people who just kind of overlook a person because of like maybe what they look like on the outside. You said something to the effect of like, it took you 4 months to like realize that like you wanted to be
4 to 5.
Yeah, 4 to 5 that you wanted to be married to me. I told you that like I felt like the Lord told me on day 1. I didn't tell you anything, and I don't feel like I did anything differently. I just kind of was like, you know what, Lord, because previously I tried to take it into my own hands. I had shared that before in the podcast, and I was just like, I truly don't want to be in a relationship with anybody. I don't want to be married to anybody who it's not the Lord's best for me, And I think that's probably why the Lord kind of like told me, or kind of revealed that to me, in the beginning, because then it's like, not that I would be more or less open to you, but I think that maybe my heart wouldn't have been as pliable,
Yeah.
That does make sense. You say, yeah. So, but I think like our own insecurities, because then I was talking about that, like our own fears and insecurities, because you were saying like why do you think that you can conquer somebody almost and like force them to marry you? And it's almost like because of that, because we don't believe in if we're honest, we don't believe in the Lord's best. If we're honest, we don't believe that in ourselves. Like those who are struggling, who are unsure, we don't even think it's a possibility. And like I told you before, somebody close to me has actually told me that that's not for somebody like me. And this person claims to love me. So you're saying waiting to, be married. It's like just following the Lord. And I'm not following the Lord to be married. I'm following the Lord because I'm on this journey in the Lord. But like, I also had a desire to be married. Should I not have that desire because I already have a child? So I think the Lord was kind of confirming, like, and I've had different confirmations, like throughout our courtship before we were engaged. I had a woman tell me, like, no, the Lord is giving you and your child to this man. But that's what the Lord said to me. And I didn't even know that woman. I didn't know her that day I met her.
Yeah, I think that one thing I would want to say is that, like, when you're intentionally seeking the Lord in your conquest for dating to be married, I think God will show up. I think the Lord really will show up. I think if you really trust the Lord, He'll show up. Like what we were done the other day, we were talking about somebody that we knew who was seeing a young lady and ended up having a baby by her, and them saying that she was the one, but them not wanting to marry her once she had or whatever. I don't know what to say, whatever reason, but she actually ended up married a year or two later after they kind of went their own way. But it's like, because her heart was intentional. Yeah, she made a mistake. She had a baby by somebody it shouldn't have, but because her heart was intentional and she really wanted marriage, and maybe that mistake kind of made her pivot and, like, you know what? Before I thought I was thought I was moving a certain way. This time I'm really just about God, and and it made her. Maybe it made her more focused. But a year or two later, she got married. She's been married for like 6-7 years now. It's like, I feel like when you are intentional, giving yourself to the Lord and allowing Him to lead you, He'll reward you. I feel like, but I feel like it has to be God. It can't be myself, because I oftentimes, like, I chuckle with myself whenever I see couples that people think shouldn't be together. Like, you may see, like, I was thinking about the other day.
Oh, because of their appearance?
Yeah. I was there the other day. I was laughing. I was watching Date Chappelle's stand-up comedy. He was like, he was talking about, he saw an Asian woman with the Mexican, and I was like, yeah, something that you would never expect to see in 1,000 years. But it's like, but I chuckled because I'm like, wow, they're such, and you see them like kind of like interacting, like, man, they're made for each other. It's like they're made. He was made for her, she was made for him. It's like, yeah, but that's what God will do. You know what I'm saying? When somebody wants you, or you want somebody, and God can press it upon their heart to want you, or for Him to want you and her to want you, you don't have to fight for their approval or try to earn that joint. It's like, nah, I want you, like the dude said with his wife, and she was like in the background, like, I wiped her up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we laugh, but that's the reality of it. The reality of it is, yeah, if a dude wants you, and because I was on not podcast, sorry, I was on TikTok, and one of the girls was saying how I was listening on TikTok live, and she was saying, like, once people see certain personalities in you, they won't want you. I said, that's not true. I was like, that's not true at all. I was like, to the right person, to the right man, or to the right woman, they'll overlook that joint.
Yeah. I mean,
they'll know that at some point in time
we're gonna have to
address it, but they won't. They'll be like, nah, you mine, or he's mine, she's mine. No, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not true.
Like, I see that, and I see, yeah, you're right. Like, I see that hurt, I see that struggle, so it's like, we just probably gonna walk through this at some point sooner rather than later, maybe. But on that note, I did want to bring up, like, showing certain personalities, because I spoke to this before, where I had met a Christian dude I thought that, if I lied, that would be the way to go, that he would see that I was worthy. Kind of back to that, oh, I'm going to marry that person, or I was like, well, I really didn't have a standard. So like, I didn't, I just kind of went with whatever. And then also I lied a lot about little things that I thought would make me less than, or make me kind of not worthy. And I mean, the Lord kind of exposed that thing. And it was just like,
What was me?
no, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh.
You know, you know what's interesting? What's interesting is
Mhm.
like you realize when you look back over certain scenarios, you realize how much God played a hand, because it was just one lady that I liked a lot. I liked her a lot, and I had kind of actually it was two of them, but it's like
It was two that you liked a lot.
no, in different time periods, not
Oh, I was
same.
like, well, dang.
But what's funny is like when I got the opportunity to actually spend time with them one on one and on a date, I was like, oh my God, I can never be with her. And one of the girls, she was actually beautiful. I just thought she was arrogant. I'm like, yeah, she's too arrogant for me.
Yeah, I remember you saying
Yeah,
that.
like, she's too arrogant. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Well, I mean, yeah. Listen, what they say, they were like, all women are high maintenance. I know you're saying arrogance, but I seen this on social media somewhere. It was like, all women are high maintenance. You just need to pick which one you want. And it was like the comparison between like the woman who want the chicken coops versus like the woman who get like the expensive hair and nails and things like that. It's like, well, which one you want? We both high maintenance, but choose your high maintenance. Like, yeah. Choose your, well, they were saying choose your income level, but it's like choose your high maintenance.
Yeah. So
So that's what I was just thinking of. Like, yeah.
yeah. I mean, so I think intentionality really is I guess intentionality for me is more so the act of me being intentional with a person, and we just both come into an agreement that, hey, do you want, are you interested in marriage? Okay, yeah, that's wonderful. I am too, and let's kind of see where things go from there. And I feel like what
That's too vague. I was going to be like, I could be interested in marriage, but are you interested in marriage with me? Like, do you want to?
that's what I meant.
That's too vague because I mean,
Saying you, if I'm saying somebody, like who else am I interested in marriage with? Somebody else?
No, listen, you talk about the space filler, because I did want to touch on that. You talk about the space filler. I could be interested in marriage. Let's say, I was interested in marriage. I had a lot of space fillers, friends. I had a lot of, and I actually had to cut off a friend, one in particular, because I remember he said to me, it was a male friend, that was the first thing. And I said, oh, we're too close. I mean, I was like, we are too close. I don't think I would ever be able to get married, because then we were sitting there. He turns to me and he's like, you know what? If I don't find nobody, you don't find nobody, we might just get married. And I was just like, oh, I knew right then. I said, oh, we're too close. I'm like, he knows I'm walking through this journey with the Lord. And, I think I was just sharing my desire to be married, but I was just like, I'm not going to be able to like explain this. And I think he would have gotten in the way.
Yeah.
Like and he was a space filler. I mean, like, we didn't date, but we just like, we did almost everything together. We were really good friends. And I was like, oh yeah.
I watched a YouTube short where the dude was talking about how he was cool with a girl with his friend, and he actually liked her, but the dude that she was at the time dating sniffed it out. But she was like, nah, no, he don't. And he was like, nah, I was trying to hit that joint. But my point is, like, he was like, yeah, like the dude like, nah, yo, that ain't cool. But it's like she was so naive that and
But innocent.
Nah.
No, I think she probably was innocent if she didn't know.
No, I'm sorry, but to some extent, it's kind of like if I say I have a female best friend, or a female friend, like you can see things about her that just don't, as a woman, I just don't notice, right? Same thing with a man. A man can look at another man and be like, nah.
Yeah, but you innocently. Oh, I got a joke for you, but I'm not going to say it on.
What I'm saying is that, like, when you see that, you have to at least be open to the fact that it could be true.
Well, yeah, but yes, I understand that, but that's somebody else calling it out. I mean, I think nobody called it out for me. I think when that person said that, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to be able to, and and with the best intentions, because I believe that he went on to like find his wife, and I mean, I met you, and I didn't have to hear me out, and I probably should have did better because that was a good friend. I should have explained that, but I was like, no, I just kind of cut that
I
off.
mean, sometimes when you're young like that, you don't really know how. You don't have the tools to know how to navigate those things. When you get older,
Yeah.
like I said, when you're older now we're older, you of course.
Yeah, I do. I do. I care about my relationships. Yeah, my friendships.
And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I care about my friendship. So I probably would have just been like, hey, so this would happen, even if it was a disagreement. But I'm just like, I think if I'm honest, I was like, no, I have to do it. I felt like I had to do it the way that I did it because I'm like, I probably would be drawn back in because of the closest. I just stopped. I stopped answering. I stopped answering the phone.
Oh, wow.
I stopped answering the phone. And there were certain instances where, I mean, because, my friend knew where I lived. So he popped up at my house. And I had all my blinds open. But because I fell asleep, I took a nap and it was dark out by the time I think he had came by or whatever. But all the blinds were open. And I was like, oh, my gosh, like, I can't go to the dorm. So I just stayed at my apartment with like all the windows open. It's pitch black outside. And no, I mean, I'm laughing, but it probably really did hurt my friend, but my then friend, but I was just like, if I explain it, I'm never going to get out of this because we were just too close, and
it's the same when you and I met as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is. Though. I mean, I think that because I've watched stuff online where people are like, hey, that's my friend, and I ain't going. I was like, well. My advice to you would be then to marry your friend then.
Well, yeah.
Because even I think one of our spiritual mentors was like, if I have a friend like. My wife got to rock with you the same way you.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah.
Like it can't just be like I'm rocking with you and like, hey, Charel, hey, how you doing? Yeah, let's go over here and nah.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of and people look at that like at a different like no, that's not true. It was like, but unfortunately, like you live with you're gonna want to live with your spouse if that's the person you're supposed to get married. That means y'all ain't living together. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, depending on how y'all operate your marriage, you might end up living with the friend and still being married to the husband, or the wife. But I had a client where that was the situation, and it started off as a friendship, and the wife sniffed it out, and to your point, the wife had sniffed it out, and it was just kind of like. Yeah, now we have this big problem because now she feels entitled to, like the other woman now feels entitled to call at all times of night, to say whatever. Now I feel like I'm competing. And I mean, I think that could happen if you don't set those boundaries with even the friends. I think that could happen with work. That could happen with family. So I think that could happen on any level, any relationship,
Yeah.
Any aspect of your relationships, if you don't kind of set those boundaries of like, no, we're going to respect this, like this person who I'm married to, who I said I would do life with, So I think just showing your person. And, I think in the next episode, we should definitely kind of
talk about boundaries.
Well, talk about boundaries, but also talk about what we're doing with ourselves. Like, during that time when we're gearing up to, because I wanted to address that too. Like you were saying how you were preparing to be a husband. I really want us to explore what you did to prepare, what I did to prepare to be a wife, because like who taught me how to be a wife? I didn't go to school. I didn't go to Wifey 101,
I mean, well, I mean, one of the things I will say before we end is, and then we can dive into it more on the next episode. But I think one of the things I felt like a lot of people kind of practice or feel like it's okay to practice before a marriage is really is premarital sex, and I think that oftentimes that kind of clouds people's judgments as well.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult to be with somebody because it's like, do you want to marry somebody when like 6 months ago you were just getting in with somebody else? It's like that's kind of disgusting. Like that's kind of sick. I'm not saying it to be judgmental. I'm just saying the thought that like I'm marrying this person, and 6 months ago they was getting in with dude up the street.
Yeah, you're being generous by saying 6 months ago, because some people are actively trying to get with someone else and actively still.
Yeah.
But so,
I think that one of the boundaries that I don't know if I mentioned it on the last episode or not, but one of the boundaries that I mentioned that I believe I may have or may have not mentioned, I don't remember, but it's like I didn't go inside of her apartment. She didn't come inside of my apartment. I just those kind of just boundaries that I kind of just set, and the reason why I set those boundaries is so that I don't slip up. Most, if not all of our interactions were in public or
In a group
at other
setting.
people's homes or group settings. You know what I'm saying? Like we went out a lot, like to the movies and to restaurants and like to the
Yeah.
park. Like we went out a lot, but it wasn't in no private setting in no one's home or in no one's apartment. And I think that like just having those boundaries can help you keep yourself from doing things that you probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
As a believer, if you're in the world, hey, have at it.
Or I mean, but still, I think still protect yourself. Like, just have at it. Definitely use caution and consideration because, I know when we were going through marital counseling, that was something that, that was explained, that those interactions with just different ones, like don't unlock love before it's time. Those things come with you, those memories, those thoughts. It's almost like, man, I see why they say don't get into that because like you mentioned, the gentleman that had a whole baby and moved on. And it's like you have this physical representation of maybe a mistake you made. The baby's not a mistake, but of
what's interesting? I was on a TikTok live and the conversation was the body count doesn't matter. And why I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I don't care about the opinion of it. I was actually some years ago. I was listening to a scientist and a psychiatrist. I don't know why. I don't even know how I found this video. But the scientist was actually saying that they actually did studies on people who were sexually active. Like they actually did studies like intentional, and they said that they found some of the same personalities traits in women who had been sleeping with men.
Yeah.
Those same guys, and so, which is funny because it's funny because the Bible tells you. So we know from a spiritual aspect, it's true. From a spiritual aspect, because the Bible tells you that you're married to anybody that you have intercourse with. That's who you're married to. Now, if we ain't believe God, let's say I want to say, I don't believe what God's talking about.
Yeah.
Just say, he ain't telling the truth. Okay, cool. You can do that. But now, from a natural perspective, they're saying that's true as well. So it's like,
Oh, wow.
body count does matter. Body count matters in the aspect that I take on the attributes and the characteristics of the person that I'm sleeping with.
They call those
scientists prove this. Like it ain't me. Scientists prove this. So I think that when people say that, it's like no, it actually does matter. It does matter. It's been proven naturally, and in the scriptures speak about this as well from a spiritual perspective. So body count does matter. So I think that that's just what I was thinking about when you were talking about you was with somebody, not you, but somebody being with somebody.
Right.
What they were saying what they were saying in the premarital counseling.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, they call those soul ties. They call those soul ties. I think I spent a lot of time before I met you. I spent a lot of time like fasting about that, praying, like really getting to the root of like, well, what's a soul tie? Like researching it, like reading it in the Bible, and I was just like, wow, like if we truly loved ourselves like the Lord loved us, we wouldn't treat our bodies as if, or even treat ourselves as if, like we wouldn't put it up for offering that easily.
Yeah.
And yes, when you're young, hot in the pants, it's hard to even imagine it that way. You know what? This gonna sound so crazy, and not that this is, not that he's anybody that we should be like pulling from, but we can chew the meat on this one. It was back in the day I watched T.I., his reality show. He told one of his daughters, like, oh, well, you got the sugar and the boys want the sugar. And every time you give the sugar away, you have less and less, you give a little sugar there, a little sugar there. And I always seen that as like, that was her light, that like she's kind of dimming down. She's giving away like her essence, her innocence to these different ones. Now, I mean, I don't know about their personal lives, and we don't have to go into that, but that was just one kind of nugget, a fatherly nugget, that whether somebody gave him that or he came up with that just to encourage his daughter, that stuck with me.
Yeah.
That stuck with me. Now, did I apply it? Probably not, but it still was in there, and I was just like, wow, but because I didn't have the self-esteem, you just kind of either do whatever or accept whatever or allow people to treat you however, and dim your light, because it's like, well, like my like one of my loved ones told me, like, well, that's for somebody else. That's waiting for marriage is for somebody, not you.
It's crazy.
Somebody that's
Wow.
but I had to believe in the Lord. I had to trust in the Lord. And that was the part for me, was really trusting in the Lord. So, on that note, like, a study did come out too. I did want to say a study did come out. I'm in a mom's group where they were saying your child's father's DNA stays with you for up to, I think it's like 5 to 8 years because you've had their baby. And so, people in the comment section was like, that's why I was acting all petty like him.
Nah. I mean, it's funny because I was watching something like I watched a lot of weird stuff like that, but with David actually saying like, he was like, well, why did I think that way? He was like, oh, that's why you were thinking that way because that wasn't you, that was somebody else. Yeah. No. I don't want to get into it because I'm not.
No, I'm saying in the comment section.
No. The doctor was like, do you wonder? The scientist was like, sometimes people wonder why they take on certain certain. Whether they begin to do things that's outside of how they behave, that's why. Because you've taken on the characteristics of somebody else. That's why. So when you say body count, it's like if you got a high body count,
that's multiple personalities.
Are you dealing with?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's personality. I think maybe it's an aspect of the person, but it's still something to think about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a little weird and probably just like, it's probably a lot to think about, like, oh man, but I mean, I think we really do need to like value ourselves a little bit more than what we have been when it comes to, intentionally dating, like who we are giving ourselves to, even our time. Cause I feel like, everyone's an empath now. Like, oh, I'm such an empath. If someone's down, I'm down, but it's almost like, you want to be considerate of the people around you. And I loved how our spiritual father put this like years ago, like be a thermostat and not a thermometer. Like when it comes to, setting your boundaries, setting your, like even your self-esteem and how you're feeling. Because in the last episode, you were talking about just like what you're consuming.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even consume, let's say you don't watch YouTube. Let's say you don't watch, you don't watch TikTok or the different social medias as much. You're cutting back, you're detoxing. Who are you still around? Who are your friends? Like who's in your community? And are you being a thermometer? Are you reading the room and being like, and you're gauging them? So if they're at a 70 or at an 80, are you at a 70 or 80 as well? Or, or are you the thermostat where I'm going to set the tone no matter where I go?
Because that was a problem we had years ago. Not the problem. That was the thing I had years ago. One of the guys that I had brought to Christ was still hanging around with some of his old buddies. And it was like, hey, man, like you can't continue to hang around people that were doing things that are contrary to the way God would have you to live and think that you're going to still live a godly lifestyle. It's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like oftentimes that's just, we go back to what we know, unfortunately, and it's, you look back, people like way out and see somewhere, so.
And not that God can't like bring them people back around if there was something that they could, but I think, while you're walking that thing out and trying to really get things out of your system and flesh things out. Yeah, it might be a season where you gotta depart. I mean, because naturally that'll happen anyways. You show up talking about like, oh yeah, well, I feel like, the Lord's doing this. The Lord, man, I don't know what you're talking about, but like, come on, let's hit these streets, or I don't know what y'all
hit the blood.
Oh, or something, yeah. Or let's hit these people. Like, let's crash out. I mean, I don't know what people are into, but it's like you never know. So you could find yourself in a lot of different tricky situations like that if you're not monitoring that as well. Being mindful of like, kind of how you ended the last one, what you're meditating on as far as what you're watching, who you're around.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
So thank you guys for tuning into today's podcast episode, Intentional Dating Leading to Marriage, part 2, intentionality. On the next episode, we'll dive into, or she'll dive into,
Other.
no, I'm joking. Boundaries, just setting boundaries and really what that looks like, and how do you maintain, you know, your boundaries, and the purpose that boundaries do, what they're for, what they help you do to
Yeah.
accomplish. So until next time, thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to watch our video podcast, you can find on YouTube. If not, you need to listen to it anywhere where podcast audio can be consumed. Until next time, peace.
Peace.